All right. Well, Jim got
this wrestling and
there's no question that momentum plays a big part in all sports.
Huge.
The question in my mind is, logically speaking, we've had a lot of injuries this year in the NFL, as we always do, but this year even worse. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Arguably, different reasons are debated. But when you have absolutely nothing to gain, it's almost like putting money on a roulette game when the best thing you can do is get your money back. So if there's no upside to making a decision, your risk reward is too high for me. So logically speaking, I'd rather go the route of resting players and having players not be at risk of getting hurt. However, as you point out, John, sometimes these guys roll the dice and they get away with it. That doesn't mean it's smart. Just like not all coaches make smart decisions. Sometimes they get bit in the ass for it, and other times they get away with it. And I think when you don't rest players when you should, I think you're rolling the dice for no upside reason whatsoever.
Well, let me throw this in. I think it matters about what a team's form is when you rest them. You go back to the year the Colts screwed things up, where they were sitting at 14-0. They shouldn't have rested the play. They really shouldn't have rested the players because they had so much momentum. The risk versus reward there was that they might slow down the momentum, and they did. You contrast that with last week. The Chiefs have not been playing well. They need a week off. That, to me, was a smart move by Andy Reid last week. They're not. If this team was on a high, then there's no way I sit them down. I want to get them out there and keep that positive flow going. The Chiefs have gone from 9-0 to, they'd won one game in 5 weeks, right? That team needed a break. So, it's all depends on the circumstances. And we're kind of going into that Chiefs-Colts game now. I really like what Andy Reid did last week in looking at the way things were with his football team and determining this is a good time to sit back and give these guys a break. And, by the way, it works out. Talk about rolling the dice and having it come up the right way for you. They didn't win the game, but they probably should have. The NFL, in its infinite wisdom, still has part-time officials who absolutely suck on the field, and they either didn't know the rule or didn't call it properly at the end of the game. San Diego, 7 men lined up on one side of the long snapper. That's not legal. They blew the call. Should have been a 5-yard penalty, and I pretty much can tell you Ryan Suckup probably would not have missed the replay field goal, if you will. So the Pittsburgh Steelers are out of the playoffs because of the NFL officials. It's as simple as that. But I digress from that. Getting back to the Chiefs.
No, hey, Dave, what about the Dallas-Philadelphia game?
Yeah, just to finish up the thought, I don't want to go off on a tangent here. The Chiefs actually benefited in another way from last week because all those backups who got to play went out and played a tremendous game, played well enough to basically knock out San Diego on their home field. They're going to be feeling so great and confident right now in the practice sessions this week. I think the Chiefs have a chance to do a little bit of a turnaround here. I like them going into Indianapolis. I agree with what you said, Jim. Congratulations, Colts. You beat up Jacksonville. It didn't get you anything, okay? You're still exactly where you were beforehand. Their chances of moving up last week and getting a bye were remote, to put it mildly. I would have given some of those players the week off. But maybe their coach is looking at it and saying, you know what? We got hot coming out of this Kansas City game, and I want to stay that way. So I'm going to go out there and put these guys in the field. So I'm not going to completely dismiss what he did. But I will say, and I said this all year, I think the Colts, it's a broken record. I think they're a lucky football team. Maybe the luck continues this weekend. It's been basically a 2-year roll where they've been outperforming their metrics on a weekly basis, and yet they continue to do it. But I got to tell you, at first glance, and I'm not locking myself into these because it's early in the week, but at first glance, I think the Chiefs are the right side in this game. Sean?
I was just going to say, I'm just going to end this conversation for me as far as the refs go, and this is just a blatant bad call. But what about when the Eagles have the ball late, 40 seconds goes down to 25 just like that, and they don't pick that up?
Nope.
And Philadelphia had to face that. Yeah, they're terrible. You can't do that. You just can't, but they do it all the time.
It's the worst officiated sport we have among the major sports. There's not nothing even close. It stinks, and I think part of it is that they don't have full-time officials.
I agree.
Because there's times when they don't know the rules, and that to me I'm not saying the whole crew has to be full-time. I understand logistically that would be tough. It would cost a fortune, but the head man for each game, the referee, those should be from a full-time pool. Those guys shouldn't be doing anything else but refereeing and doing doing whatever preparation is necessary to make sure they know what they're doing come out Sunday. Yeah, all these myths have been blown up about how good these guys are. Remember we all grew up, we'd see somebody blow a call. It didn't matter what sport it was. Well, they get them right 95% of the time. That was the old myth.
Oh.
Holy cow, has that been blown up? They barely get them right 50% of the time on close calls. Barely 50%. In fact, there's one official this year, I think it's Revelo or somebody, 58% of the challenges have been reversed. That's a lot of calls.
Yeah.
It's inexcusably bad. Okay. Anything else for the Chiefs and Colts, guys?
I'm on the Chiefs, I can tell you that.
I would just like to say the AFC is, in my opinion, the AFC is weaker than the NFC. And the Colts and the Chiefs very likely are the weakest clubs out of the AFC.
Yeah.
They are playing each other. And the only reason I knock the Chiefs, even though they have a great record, is because they played such a soft schedule early in the season. The Colts, I say, are a weak team because they've lost too many players. When they lost Reggie Wayne, that was a big loss for them. And that's another reason I really criticize the coach for not resting his players last week. These are the two weakest teams in the AFC, in my opinion, and I don't expect them to go very far after this game.
All right, let's check in.
Go
ahead, Sean.
I was just going to say, I got a little playoff trend if you want. It's come up a number of times here since January, playoffs only now. Since January the 22nd of 2012, the road dog coming off a road game. How about 4-1 straight up, 5-0 against the number? Chiefs got an excellent road record. You cannot deny. We talked about coaches earlier, Jim. Andy Reid has basically turned this team around, so I'm not going to question what he's doing because he's put them where they are, and they're doing it with pretty much the same team they had last year. So for me, it's the Chiefs straight up.
All right, let's check in with our man on the street, Jeff Saad from L.V.S.S. Jeff has been providing us with free NFL totals all year long, I should say, and he's got another one for this weekend. Go ahead, Jeff.
Thanks, guys. Got a free pick coming up in bowl action, but first get the January NFL playoffs and 4 weeks of basketball with Las Vegas Sports Services, just $30. That will include the wild cards this weekend, my NBA TV game of the month, and my first college basketball game of the year on Saturday. 30 days of action for $30 with L.V.S.S. Call 1-866-575-8916. Free play comes in Friday's Orange Bowl between Clemson and Ohio State. This is a high total, but Clemson has an underrated defense, 17th in the nation in points allowed, 21 points per game. The Tigers are 7-2 under in bowl games. They come off a 31-17 loss to South Carolina, and the under is 16-6 following a defeat. Ohio State is a run-first offense, 21st in the nation in points allowed, on a 4-0 run under the total in bowl games, plus 8-3-1 under playing on natural grass. Your free play take Clemson and Ohio State to stay under the total. Once again, get the January NFL playoffs and 4 weeks of basketball with the LVSS for just $30. That will include the wild cards this weekend, my NBA TV game of the month, and my first college basketball game of the year on Saturday. 30 days of action for $30 with LVSS. Call 1-866-575-8916.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Good luck this weekend. We have free plays every day. Jim Feist and myself, and it's about the easiest deal in the world to get these free plays. You don't even have to call anybody. All you need to do is text. If you want mine, text Cokin, C-O-K-I-N, to 313131. Been on an amazing roll. Again, I mean, all year long, these have been tremendous. Up over 100 games since I started doing it. And as I'm recording this, last 12 daily free plays, 10 wins, 1 loss, 1 push. And they're free. All you have to do is text Cokin, C-O-K-I-N, to 313131. And Jim, same story with you. It's real easy to get a daily free selection.
Absolutely. Just text WINNER, WINNER, to 313131. We're going to send you a free play right to your cell phone each and every day. That's WINNER to 313131.